Hello everyone, welcome back to another VOD review. I'm Mrrishi, and today we are going to be going over a ladder match I had against Ice Cream Cake, another high TMR player. This one is a very intense match, I'd say. I came back from I guess maybe I shouldn't spoil it, but this isn't for entertainment, but rather, it is for entertainment, but also for helping you guys get better. Giving you insight into my thought processes and how I'm looking at things, some strategies that I'm using. But I come back from a 3-10 deficit. It was a 2v5, and I was able to come back from it. But here we are in pick and ban, so let's get right into things. Okay. So as you can see, we do have a token I do end up banning the Yowler. See Yowler, ban Yowler is essentially my motto with this team. As you can see, I can't really handle Yowler. I do have stare users in Grandpa and Noxlol, Toxotics with Noxlol. I have things that can buff up their attack, being Chimerian and Volcrane, and I have hard hitters such as Chewing Horn, Noxbomb, Tolkien, Luwali, and Tataru. But I do not have any mentals, and not being able to hit Yowler for ×2 damage, especially in this meta where how cold-blooded works, is not really feasible. So I just decided to ban it. It's one of the best times of the meta, if not, well, definitely the best time of the meta at the moment. So why not ban it, right? They end up leading Shuin, and I'm thinking here, okay, what can I lead in order to deter them from, because I want to pick the Chimerian here for sure in case they pick Golzy, because they could go Rage Golzy or something like that. And then like, okay, next to this Chimerian, what do I want to pick to deter them from picking Tolkien? And that's pretty simple. Hey, why not pick a water type, right? Water or electric type, don't have any electrics available to me since my Golzy was banned. So I decided to pick my Tukai, as it does have Chewing Horn, Noxious Bomb, which Chewing Horn changes the Noxious Bomb to a water technique, allowing me to hit that Tolkien turn 1. And so now they pick Gaialsa to me. I'm like, hey, what's threatening to me? I'm like, hey, you know, that Tolkien, I believe I end up banning Tolkien. Let's see. Yes, I do end up banning Tolkien. Not only does this open up my Luwali, but this also opens the aforementioned Chimerian along with my Volcrane. And the reason why it opens up Volcrane is because Volcrane's SPDEF, or special defense, is very, very low. So getting hit by special techniques is not something I really want to do. Sure, picking the Ukama or banning the Ukama also would have opened up Volcrane, but I was thinking, hey, you know what? I have access to Luwali, I have access to Tukai, I have access to Chimerian. I don't think I'm gonna need to ban the Ukama at all. Especially since I'm orange side. So what I can do is I can actually wait until the last pick in order to pick my Volcrane. Okay? I don't know if I end up doing that, but that's something I should be doing. As they do ban my Noxlol, I'll end up picking Golzy. Golzy pretty good in my lineup. I do have a Crystal. I do have a possibility for an Earth. See, okay. So right here, as you can see by pick and ban, Orange has the last pick, right? And I should have waited to pick Volcrane to that last in order to see if they pick Ukama Drakash, right? Because Ukama Drakash right here is, well, okay, don't get me wrong, the Volcrane's so good, but it's not nearly as good as something. It's not as good or better than Tataru plus Luwali into the back two. Because if they ended up not having the Ukama, then essentially I can just go hog wild with my Tataru, or not having the Kinu, I can go hog wild with my Tataru, and if they have Ukama, then I can definitely pick Luwali into them. And they're having Ukama, they do end up picking Kinu, and then I end up picking Tataru as last, as there isn't really a need for me to pick Luwali into this team. It's really nice for the Shuin, but I do already have a Tukai and a Chimerian, so there is that to keep in mind. And we will be speeding up here to turn 1. So as the lead that I talked about, I believe I end up swapping out Chimerian here into the Grandpa. Grandpa's a pretty good swap in. It gets me up my hold for Turbo Choreography, Hypnosis, or HKS, or Hyperkinetic Strike. while being able to threaten the turbo choreography onto my 2Kai, right? I also get a pretty hard-hitting Noxious Bomb here onto the Gaialis. I get to kind of scout it a little bit, see if it's a really bulky Gaialis. If it's a really bulky Gaialis, it's going to be doing like about 33%. If it's a bit more frail of a Gaialis, it's going to be doing closer to 42%. As we see the water cannon plus helicopter kick coming out to my grandpa is a lot of damage, I must say, but it's not enough damage to really deter me too much, right? I'm still gonna go for the play that I mentioned earlier. We're gonna be turboing up plus Feather Gat, or turboing up plus Noxious Bombing, and if I could catch me spamming here we go, spamming X here. At first sight, 2Kai doesn't look special, okay? But then when you start looking at it, Shuing can't hit the 2Kai very hard unless it's with Crystal Bite. Gaialis can hit 2Kai hard, but that forces him to ignore threats like Grandpa, Chimorian, or Volcrane. Golzy can obviously kill the 2Kai very easily. Drakash completely gets destroyed by 2Kai. And then Kinu can hit the 2Kai if it has Resin Trap, but not all Kinus run Resin Trap. If this Kinu does not run Resin Trap, then 2Kai can hit it pretty hard with a Feather Gatling, as it is physical 2Kai. So, as we can see, we are going into things. We ended up clicking Noxious Bomb on the Gaialis again. The Shuing does get a Quartz Shield off on the Gaialis, which is a threat, right? It does essentially double its health that is left, or not double its health, that's old buffs, but increases its effective health by 1.5 times, right? So instead of doing like 40%, we're now doing like 25%, right? Or sorry, 27% or something like that. And now, as we can see, we do gain a lot of tempo from that turbo choreography, because getting +3 on 2Kai is really, really nice for that Drakash in the back. It makes it so Drakash, if like I have a 2Kai Volcrane board, Drakash can't click Mudshot, it's forced to click Fiery Soul if it wants to get an attack off, unless it's Golzy Drakash board. But if right now when I'm looking at this board, I'm like, okay, what's my win con? And if I'm looking at Ice Cake's team, I know that the only thing they have for my Volcrane is a Shuing, because they chose not to pick Ukama, which is probably a misplay in the long run, as you will see. And so my game plan is, okay, I need to get a turbo on this Volcrane, because if I get turbo on Volcrane, I outspeed their whole team, okay? Even some of their 3 prios. So as long as I can get that, well, the only thing that can hit me on their team is 2 prios, so keep that in mind. Here we will be going for the Noxious Bomb again. I believe I swap in the Tataru here. This gives me hold up on Major Slash and Turbo Choreography, which is huge holds to have up. As we see the Golzy swapping in. Here is like a pretty big turn, because I get a lot of damage on the Golzy. I'm like, okay, this is a frail Golzy. And then Diabolo procs. Which is really unfortunate, because all of that damage that I just spent kind of goes to waste, right? Kind of goes to waste. But swapping in Chimerian, and this is after that turn, I'm already behind. I'm like, okay, let me try to get some play swing. I'm expecting them to go Hasty Lunge into the Chimerian, but they don't do that. They Oshi-Dashi. And so I'm now like, oh crap. I'm in a bad place right now. I get a turbo off on the Chimerian, but that's not gonna do a whole bunch, and they get a Quartz Shield off on the Golzy. I'm like, oh no. My Tataru is faster than the Kinu now, though, because I've made my Tataru at +2 speed be faster than max speed Kinu. And I'm like, okay, please don't die to a Hasty Lunge. I'm like, you definitely do die to a Hasty Lunge, Chimerian, but like, if you don't, that'd be even nicer. And now they're +3 on Golzy. I'm like, holy cow, this is really bad. And so I just go for the Major Slash, I believe, into the Golzy. Oh no, I go for it in the Kinu. I'm like, oh no, I've like essentially done nothing these past couple turns, or at least it feels like it. So I'm like, okay, time to bring in Grandpa. Let's get an HK off on this Golzy. Last Rush is active. I kind of think here for a little bit. I'm like, hey, do I want to get damage on Kinu? Because if on this board right now, I do have Hypnosis up, okay? But I don't want to go for Hypnosis because of Drakash in the back. If Drakash is Sentinel, which most likely is, then Hypnosis is essentially null and void if they swap in Drakash and they kill my grandpa with Golzy. I essentially wasted a slot. So I go for a slightly safer play, I'd say, which would be KS into the Golzy, and you might be thinking like, hey, why the heck are you doing that? I just need the damage off on it. I decide to Held Anger also, get off even more damage on it. So yeah, here is where I'm going for my plays. I'm really thinking, I'm like, hey, should I click this Hypnosis? I'm like, I can't risk going for the Hypnosis, them swapping into cash. I even think about going or HKSing the Kinu slot in case they do swap your cash in there, but I ultimately decide against it. So yeah. I also expect them to hasty launch here, but they end up uppercutting, which is a really good play by them, making it so that they don't OX, because they know they're not gonna outspeed me. And we actually do a decent amount of damage to the Golzy, which I'm really, really happy about. Obviously, I would like this Golzy to be dead, but it is not yet. So I'm gonna have to keep my qualms about it. Golzy though at 5.3% health. I was thinking about swapping. Oh, I do swap in Volcrane here because I'm like really on the back end here, right? I'm like, holy cow, I don't know how to come back from this. I see my out, which is if I get a turbo off on Volcrane, I have a chance of winning. Okay. And so my out is here. I'm going to turbo choreography on Tataru, and I'm going to swap up Volcrane. Oh no, I rest on Tataru because I want to save turbo choreography, and I don't want Golzy to die yet, actually. I do not, I want Golzy to OX, and getting damage on the Kinu doesn't do anything. I already know Golzy's going to OX here. I need to make it so that my Tataru can get a turbo choreography off without OXing the turn after, so that it does still be a threat to them. So the Baby Burst goes on my Tataru. It does barely live with 27 HP. And now here I'm thinking, okay, they can just easily go for sharp stabs into my Tolkien. Ooh, dirty color. Go black. Into my Tukai, sorry. But an even better play from them would be going for sharp stabs into the Tataru, I'd say. They end up going for sharp stabs into Tukai, but I don't know. I'm really wondering if they went for sharp stabs into my Tataru here instead of my Tukai. I think they might have won. Although if they did end up doing that, what I could have done after is I get to bring out my Tukai, and I get to hook plus Noxious Bomb into the Gaialas, which should end up killing it. It's at +2 defense and special defense, but I believe hook plus Noxious Bomb will kill it. Just based on how I believe I did 27 or something like that with the previous Noxious Bomb, or 25% at least. So knowing that, I believe that hook would do at least 4%, despite being at the +2 special defenses. But I go for the Stone Trench, as I do have +2 speed on Volcrane now. I am able to outspeed them. I have +3 speed on the Tukai, which allows me to outspeed them with Feather Gap. So I actually wouldn't be able to go with Noxious Bomb. So if they did sharp stabs my Tataru there, then they might have won. Although I guess it's a read there, because if they sharp stab my Tataru, but I stay in with Tukai, then I get the damage off on the Gaiala still. Yeah, it would. That's a really messy turn, but what they ended up going for gave me an out, like guaranteed out essentially. And so now Drakash comes in. I'm at a +3 speed Tukai. Okay, if we can catch it here. Nope. I'm just gonna make my move. Oh goddamn! I keep on pressing it too late. But I have a +2 speed Volcrane, +3 speed Tukai. End up going for Flame Meteor on the Kinu. Barely kills. Very close there. Well, I'm able to then they fire my Tukai. I'm like, okay, this Noxious Bomb is up and ready to go, and I end up Noxious Bombing here. And now all that's left is Shui. It's looking really good for me now, but a couple turns ago it definitely wasn't. I think so. Looking back on this game, the biggest misplays from me were, okay, let's wind it up a little. Let's see if we can get the press X. Let's see if we can get the scoreboard here. There we go. Okay, so the biggest misplays from me here were risking the Chimerian, first of all, because Chimerian was so good this game, right? It was good into Golzi, it was good into Shuin, it was good into Kinu. A Golzi 2-Kai board with 2-Kai plus 3 speed and Chimerian at plus 2 speed probably would have also won this game. Now, so in other words, me swapping in the Chimerian, which is essentially one of my win cons, like, again, last episode, if you guys didn't watch that, I was just watching it, we talked about win cons, okay? Looking at your win cons, being able to identify your win cons are usually Tems that are very good into the enemy's lineup and don't take much damage from them, or can hit them for really super hard, super effective damage, or can set up to do a lot of damage to them. And Chimerian's one of them, right? It hits 3 Tems on the side of Ice Cream Cake, while also opening the Tems that Ice Cream Cake has that Chimerian hits, such as Shuin, Golzi, and Kinu. When those are gone, that opens up room for my Volcrane, for my 2-Kai, for my Grandpa, for all my other teammates, okay? So by me risking the HP on Chimerian, because they ended up going for Oshidashi, me risking that Oshidashi in the first place was a misplay. Okay, but as you're going to see here, I am able to finish up the game. Feather Gap plus Stone Trench outspeeds because I'm at plus 2 speed. And then a Vigorous Ninja Jutsu will end off the game. So we'll just speed up a little here. We see Volcrane OXs, and then, Feather Gap finishes off the game. Yep. So again, biggest, honestly, like this, I guess this lesson is part of 2, or like biggest takeaways from this video, I'd say, would be identifying win cons. Win cons being Tems that are good into the enemy team, whether that being they have setup into stall, or they just hit the team super effectively, or they outspeed your opponent, or they can support your Tems, or your ally Tems that are good, and not risking those win cons, right? Yes, you want to be able to have your win cons pressure the opponent throughout the game, but you do not want to put them in precarious situations that risk them dying like I did with the Chimerian. Yeah, guys, that is going to be all from me for today. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. Thank you so much again for checking me out. Make sure to hit that sub and like down below, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one. Hope you guys have an amazing day, week in life. Peace.